when you explain it and say all the men that keep coming to are unserious, why didn't you explain that? I also understand I've been traveling a lot. I've been busy. I've not been able to catch her, man. So then that's what I'm saying about when that person is noticing that they take account for the fact that they're in the situation that they're in. It's not just men and the reason why I keep drumming this in is because if you don't do it, you won't take account of your life. Your life is just going to go past you thinking that someone else has to take control of it. You're the person in your life who's driving it. Otherwise, it just becomes an excuse as to, oh, I don't. No, listen, if she's been busy, then you tell me that you've been busy. But her thing was, I haven't dated anyone serious because the men are unserious. No, you've been busy. You've been busy. You've been too busy doing career stuff. And that's great. Your career stuff is there. But now you know why you're in the situation you're in. It's not because of us. There are some of us, we're partly to blame. Some of the men are partly to blame. They're not good. But then also take account the fact that you've been in a situation where you've been flight attendant, where you've been up and down, and potentially that's not allowed you to see enough good men or be in a space where you have good men. Then you've got to take account for that. No one else. Because you made that choice. Otherwise, you remove the accountability from yourself in terms of your life and your control. And then it's up to somebody else to control your life. No. You got to handle that. And I say the same thing to men as well. If you're a man and you're screaming that no good women, I'm looking at you, bro. 40 years and you got no good women, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you big time. And, we've done the same thing with Mike. Take accountability.
Just a side note, but I just don't understand why accountability seems like this negative thing for a lot of people. Like, it's not a negative thing. Like you said, it's taking control of yourself and your life and your livelihood or whatnot. Let me figure out what I did wrong in the situation, how I got here, so I won't end up there again. Why do we want to just stay where somebody else is just controlling our lives, and then we want to sit there and talk about, oh, this person fault, that person fault? At the end of the day, when we get in front of God, it's not going to be nobody's fault but our own. When Adam, Eve, and the devil, every one of them has an account in the Bible. They all had to take account for something. It's like we're not going to be taking account for anybody else but our own. So just own up to your part in situations, how we get there. It might not be your fault how it ended. You might actually be a victim how you ended, but try not being a victim again. That's just a different, like, another topic for another day, but still.
Yeah, you nailed it, Jay. And I think that it's people. We play the blame game, and I think once you get to a certain level, you realize that that blame game doesn't give you different outcomes. So that's what I'm always like. I'm a little, like I'm always prone to see that when I hear people talk, even if it's in a dating situation, or just, amongst friends, and you hear about them talk about relationships, if they immediately gravitate to, oh, it's all this or it's all that, or men out here are trash, that lets me know that you're so focused on not being wrong. You're so focused on proving yourself to be XYZ, whatever it is, what that means for you. And it's like, if you're not able to look introspectively and say, hey, listen, I can own some of the things that I could do differently, how are you going to have better outcomes? And you're not. And then that's always going to be your go-to. So if Brandy winds up picking Mike and God forbid they, don't work out, right? Because I don't want anybody's relationship to fall. But if it doesn't work out, then it's going to be up. Mike was trash. So it's not good. There's not going to be a learning trajectory. It's always going to be that go-to for whatever it is. So at the end of the day, I think like we got to be able to call these things out. I don't think it makes Brandy a bad person. So for any woman or any person out there that's 35 and maybe hasn't had a serious relationship, it doesn't make you a bad person, but it does make you somebody that needs to look introspectively to see, how have I landed in this place as a full-grown, mature adult that's wanting a relationship, and I haven't had one. So what got me here? And what am I going to now do to make sure it's different going forward? It can't be the generic men are trash, all women out here play games. When I hear things like that, it shows me you're not developed, you're not actualized. You're just talking off the top of your head and not willing to own the things that you need to do differently to get better outcomes.
Absolutely, and even myself. I say it all the time. I was a red flag. You know what I mean? I was a red flag. So I think when you're able to see that, you see yourself introspectively in terms of some of your behaviors, you'll realize why certain things. In fact, I was listening to Dear Wifey today, Dear Future Wifey podcast, and we're talking about Thinking that you guys saw the link, I was gonna talk about it, but I got so tired. But they were talking about something, and I was like, oh my god, it's like one of the red flags that I would have said I had, which was, and I did about Married at First Sight, it happened, is that the people pleasing. And it's like you may see it as, oh, I'm just a nice person, da, da, da. And maybe your friends even telling you you're just a great person. But sometimes as friends we lie to each other. Let's be honest, we're too nice to each other sometimes. Sometimes we are too nice, and that's men and women. Sometimes we're too nice to each other, and sometimes you just need someone else to pull you by the neck and tell you, bro, family, you letting these chicks run you, bruh. And what they really mean to say is you ain't got no boundaries. Sometimes we need it in a different format, but what they mean to say is that you haven't got no boundaries, and it's unattractive to the opposite sex, right? So you're not attracting many women that you really want because you have boundary issues. Yeah. So it's not to say that not say it is to say, if we're looking at myself, I'm 31 now. If I look back in my life, I have to ask myself key questions at times and say, review. I need to review. Have I contributed towards where I am right now? And if I have to take account for that. You know what I mean? If I'm not in the place I want to be right now, what have I done to make sure that I'm not in that place next time? Those are part of the taking account for reviewing your life, and that includes relationships as well. You know, Siwe, were you gonna say something? I think I interrupted you. Were you gonna add something?
No, I mean I agree.
No?
I agree with everything that you guys are saying, because I think even if someone is quote unquote trash, even I think we should stop calling other people trash like that, me included, because it's not a very nice thing. If you are attracted to that, then that also is something that you can reflect. Even I saw that on, I think it was on TikTok, like even if this person was like 99.9% the problem in the relationship, if that was someone that you were drawn to, then you still have to evaluate why you're drawn to that type of person. So there's always something to learn, I think, with Brandy included. And I know I went hard on what's his face, but I started my sentence with, I don't think he realizes that he's being surface level. Like I said that. I said, I don't even think he realizes that he's being surface level, because we're talking about Brandy, or like people like Brandy, but he's also 40, even 10 years older than her almost, and has had no real serious, he's had a serious relationship, he says, but you know, he hasn't been married, I don't think. And so he's also dealing with a lot of surface level stuff. And when she asked, oh, have you been in love? And he was like trying to differentiate between when he was in love and when he was just dating someone. And that was kind of weird too. It's like, so you were with someone that you weren't in love with, but you were in love with the person you took to the Eiffel Tower. I mean, like there's a lot of